Hello everybody, this is Llodg, and before I get into the video, I want to say I was given a code for Nikoderiko, the Magical World on the Nintendo Switch from My.Games. However, all my thoughts within this video are completely my own. Nikoderiko, the Magical World is a combination of a 2D and 3D platformer that is similar to games like Crash Bandicoot, Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong Country, and even Rayman Origins. The game is on the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, with it releasing on Steam on December 6th. The levels are your standard platforming levels, where there are many different types of enemies, platforming challenges, and of course a ton of collectibles. I mean, look at this end of level collection screen. There's a lot for you to look for while playing the levels. They even have letter collectibles and gems like Donkey Kong Country and Crash respectively. With all these collectibles, there is a lot of replayability within the game to try and get everything. The game is playable in both solo and co-op, so if you want to play with a friend, you can. One player will be Nico and the other one will be Luna. You have a variety of moves you can perform, your basic attack being a slide, but you can also do a ground pound and even pick up objects throughout the world and use them. Just like in DKC, there are even animal bodies you can find and go around the levels on. In the middle of levels, there can also be a section where it's 3D and feels really reminiscent of Crash Bandicoot. Overall, I did enjoy the 2D sections more than the 3D ones, but they are still fun to run through. And there are even boss levels. Though like this first one, they aren't all that difficult to beat, you can just keep shooting him until he dies. So that just may be an issue with platformers in general, than just this game, but I do wish that the bosses were a bit more involved from the start. Oh, and I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this, but there are even minecart levels. So if you want to have some fun auto-scroller levels, then these have you covered. There aren't any lives in this game, which has been a pretty recent trend and one that I am happy made it into this game. This feels like the type of game that would have you rack up a ton of lives at the start, so you wouldn't really need to worry about them anyway, so now you can just focus on playing the game from the start. To me, this game can still be fairly difficult, especially if you're trying to get every collectible, as some of the jumps can be pretty tight to perform. The challenges can also be difficult with how you don't have much room for mistakes, but luckily you can just retry them over and over again until you get it. There isn't much of a story, surprising in a platformer I know, but there is this little cutscene at the start of the game that gives you at least a little bit of background as to why Nico and Luna are going through the game. Basically, Nico and Luna go and get this treasure only for these pirate-looking guys to come and steal it all, so we have to go and get it back. This might just be an issue I had, but during some of these pre-rendered cutscenes, they'd kind of tear in the middle of the screen. Not every cutscene would do this, mind you, but it was really weird and hopefully it's just an issue I had. These cutscenes were very well put together and gives more character to these bosses, which I really appreciate. While the pre-rendered cutscenes don't have any voice acting, there is a lot of it throughout the game. The cutscenes with dialogue boxes would have voice acting, which was pretty good in my opinion. They will also go to the next dialogue box almost immediately after the character is done speaking the line, which is really nice. However, with Luna, the voice actress will finish speaking before her dialogue box is finished. I'm not sure exactly why this happens. I think Luna doesn't have as much of a pause between sentences like Nico does, but every other character seems to not have this issue as far as I noticed. Though I'm a fast talker too, so I don't blame her at all.
I think the Cobrings store all the loot on that huge ship. Let's try to find a way back up there.
I really loved how colorful this game was. Maybe I just miss when platformers were the big genre in games, but the colors really make everything stand out so much. Enemies are easily recognizable and the level settings looked amazing. I mean this in the best way possible, but the characters looked like they're from a PS2 game. Like, not every game needs to have these character models be modeled with a ton of polygons to be realistic, when we can see how nice the characters look in this game. The music was very atmospheric. Like, I think the boss theme is good, but a lot of it are just tracks I don't think are too memorable outside of the game, but they fit the theme of the levels really well. The sound effects were also good, and when you collect these gold things, it sounds exactly like the banana sound effect from DKC. The loading screens were a little long on the Switch, but once you were playing the levels, there wasn't any big slowdown or any time it really needed to load again in the levels, which was good. Overall, I think the game is good. Playing through the levels is fun, and it all really reminded me of past platformers that I loved. I know this term has been used a lot in the past, but this game feels like a love letter to all those amazing platformers in the past. It was a joy to sit down and play through this. The game is fun to play, and the characters are pretty cute. I'd love to see this game get a sequel or something, to even try to expand more on what we have here. If you like platformers, I 100% recommend this game to try and play for yourself. Hey, it might even be better with a friend. Thank you again to My.Games for giving me a key to Nikoderiko, the Magical World, Let me know what you think about the game, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day, and goodbye!